So who has your phone password? I'm hoping it's only you, because that means you are already using boundaries to protect your personal space. But it's easier to say no to something like sharing your password than to say no to someone's request, even though you might feel that they may be taking advantage of your good-heartedness, right? And that's exactly what we are going to see right now. How to use psychology to set healthier boundaries for self-esteem, to have more quality relationships, to make more confident decisions, essentially uncomplicating life exponentially. So how do you know you even need boundaries? To begin with, there are a few strong indicators against which you can check to see where you are at. Like, if you ever feel taken advantage of or taken for granted, that could mean that there are some weak external boundaries. Another one is when you are doing as much as you can for as long as you can. When your schedule is overflowing, that's a sign of weak internal boundaries, hurting our time management plans and adding more stress to life. Another one is if you can't sometimes stop thinking about why someone said something to you, or start doubting your decisions because of what someone thinks about it. That shows we need to set boundaries for self-esteem, to stop people's opinions, their actions, their reactions, which by the way are not our responsibility, from hurting how we feel about ourselves, from denting our confidence in our judgment, in our abilities and capabilities. See, the problem is our self-esteem affects how we think and feel, and in CBT, thoughts create feelings and feelings affect our choices and actions. So the weaker the boundaries, the lower is our self-esteem, how much value we believe our thoughts, our choices and feelings have. And to know which other areas in life, beside the ones that we discussed right now, would benefit from clearer boundaries, use the Bader-Meinhof effect or the frequency bias to work for you. So begin by thinking of the most recent situation that made you feel a way you didn't like. Maybe you felt angry or hurt or totally drained out. Now notice that feeling, because that would be a strong indicator for you in the future too, that there needs to be clearer boundaries with that person or boundaries in that kind of situation. Like say you stretched a point to help a friend. It was inconvenient, but you did it anyways. But then you find out that it wasn't that urgent or that important. How would it make you feel? My guess would be it would be a mixture of anger and resentment, right? And that mixture of feelings is a very strong indicator that there needs to be a boundary in place. Like, I won't be friends with someone who tries to play me. Now the Bader-Meinhof effect or frequency bias will make you notice all those situations that make you feel this way, so that you know where else clearer boundaries can help. So how do you use this to have more confidence and meaningful relationships? How do you go about building those boundaries? The key is to know clearly what is okay and not okay for you. How much are you going to stretch yourself? For how long and for whom? See, we all know that any healthy relationship, whether it's personal or professional, involves some kind of agreement or sacrifice from everyone involved. That's how we maintain a common ground of agreement, right? But it becomes a problem when we only give, because then people tend to start taking advantage of that. It's not that everyone is trying to hurt us intentionally. It's just that what feels very important for us might not look that important for the other person because of the cognitive biases that each and every one of us has. Like say having a quiet cup of coffee in the morning is really important for you to start the day off right. Now your partner might have something really important to say to you, and even though it could have waited a bit, they just ask anyway because their question seems to be more important to them. You see how this could become a problem over time? So when you become aware of areas that would benefit from some clear, healthy boundaries, ask what's important to me. It will show clearly where things are heading if we do nothing about it. And that will either motivate us or show us that we are not ready for it yet. But remember, setting healthy boundaries for self-esteem is about valuing yourself and your time. It's about being responsible for your own actions and feelings and emotions without taking the responsibility of those of others. Next, Get clear about what's okay and what's not for you. What are your deal breakers? A very nice way to break the habit of saying yes and then regretting the hasty commitment later is to repeat the question back to the other person as if you are trying to check with them whether you got it right or not. The pause will give us time to think it out a bit and agree only to those things that we really want to. Also decide how you would respond if those boundaries are not respected. Be ready by thinking out scenarios like, if this happens, then I will do that, because it's very normal for people to forget about your boundaries or to test the limits initially, and that's where the next step becomes really important. So we decided what's not okay with us, let people know about it, and also what they might expect if those boundaries are crossed. But because it's something that's not as important to others as it is to us, there might be some pushback or people might forget about it, and that's really normal. But this resistance starts to become a problem when it's repeated over and over again, because that then shows that they are not respecting our choice. And if we let it pass, then it will hurt how much we value our own judgment. It will start hurting our self-esteem. So the better way of going about this is to first let your boundaries be known, but calmly and politely, with the focus on yourself and not on how others should behave. Like, instead of saying stop being so pushy, we can say, I'm not comfortable with being hassled, so please give me some time to think it through. The key is to let your preference be known, not make others feel at fault. The resistance can feel a bit overwhelming initially, so start small and keep practicing, because each boundary setting win will add to your confidence and your feeling of worth. Like, maybe start with setting social media boundaries. When are you going to check it? For how long? Mute the notifications for the rest of the time, and maybe also unfollow those whose updates make you feel lacking in your own life. And following through with what you decided the consequences would be for crossing your boundaries is super important, because every time you stand up for what's fair to you, you respect yourself. And also, you let people know that your boundaries are serious and need to be respected, and people accepting the boundaries for self-esteem you set can feel really empowering. But to keep successfully practicing this new skill, you will have to overcome self-doubt from time to time. Like, do I really want to have this boundary with my friends? Or am I really simply being difficult, as some people say? Thoughts like this can really derail all your efforts. So learn over here 3 very effective techniques to remove self-doubt and build confidence in your decisions. I hope you found this video helpful. Take care, and I'll meet you in the next video.